I stood on my parents' porch. 3 kids behind me. 1 garbage bag at my feet. My mother's house. My father's door. And they shut it in my face. My brother laughed. My sister lectured me. I said 3 words. Just 3. Watch what happens. This is what happened. My name is Whitney. 18 months ago, my life was decent. Not perfect. Just stable. A minivan with a busted tail light. 3 kids growing too fast. A husband named Grant. 10 years married. Long enough to forget who I was before him. Grant wasn't cruel. He was worse. Charming. Absent. Never raised his voice, just made everything feel like my fault. Then one night, his phone buzzed on the counter. 3 sentences. That's all it took to end 10 years. I filed for divorce that spring. I called my mother first. Told her everything. Asked for 2 weeks in the guest room. Just to breathe. Silence. Then, Whitney, we don't have the space. 4 bedrooms. 2 empty. A finished basement I'd slept in every Thanksgiving for a decade. There was space. She just didn't want to give it to me. The next morning, I drove over anyway. 3 kids in the car. A bag at my feet. My father opened the door, and closed it. We talked, my dad said. We don't think it's a good idea. Dad, I have nowhere to go. Try going back to him. Nora, 9 years old, slipped her hand into mine and said nothing. Then my brother Dean leaned around the door with a smirk. 31. Living rent-free upstairs. There's just no space, Whit. He had an entire floor to himself. Then my sister Priya appeared. Arms crossed. Honestly, this whole thing feels impulsive. Think about the kids' stability. As if I hadn't built every ounce of that stability myself that I picked up the bag. I buckled 3 kids into the minivan. I drove away from the house I grew up in. We slept in a motel that night. The kids thought it was an adventure. I didn't cry in front of them. Not once. But that night, alone, I made myself a promise on that porch. Watch what happens. I had no idea yet how far those 3 words would carry me. I won't pretend the next months were easy. There were nights of crackers for dinner. Nights I cried in the bathroom after the kids fell asleep. But my boss, Renata, noticed. Offered me full-time work. Benefits. I said yes before she finished the sentence. I found a 2-bedroom apartment. Small. Ugly tile. But ours. The divorce took 8 months. Grant's lawyer pushed hard, until they realized I had 10 years of receipts. School records. Doctor visits. Every permission slip signed by me. I got primary custody. Full child support. He got every other weekend. Then my family found out, through the grapevine, of course. My mother called. First time in months. We're so relieved it worked out, she said. Like she'd been rooting for me the whole time. Were you? I asked. Silence. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. My sister Priya started reaching out. Message after message. Apologies dressed up as concern. I read every one. I answered none of them the way she wanted. Because I finally understood something. Waiting for an apology is just another way of staying stuck at that door. And I was done waiting to be let in anywhere. 6 months later, I got promoted. Department lead. A number on a paycheck that made me sit down. Not a gift. Not grace. Mine. I moved into a bigger place. Nora made a school project last month, about resilience. At the bottom she wrote, in her own words. Resilient people don't wait to be rescued. They figure out the next step. She's 10. She already understands what took me 34 years to learn. I don't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it because somewhere out there, a woman is standing at her own version of that door. If someone ever told you there was no room for you, remember this. The people who close the door are usually just afraid of what you'll become once you find your own.